Hello, Orville Nation. How are you guys doing today? Yes, I'm starting early and there's nobody in the chat yet. Um, yeah, I was going to get an early start on because we're going to have a few guests. So, um, happy Sunday to everybody. And I know it's a difficult time, but happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. And we have to smile and we have to try to be happy. And we have to try to be cheerful because there's a lot of people out there who need it. So, hello to everyone. We are going to do some Latchkum tonight, and let me just make sure I put this out again. Put this out. Not again, but I have to put it out on Twitter. And so we're going to have a few guests later on, and we are going to have a few guests later on. We're going to have David Beatty, who is a cartoonist from Marvel Comics. I think Marvel and DC. And we're gonna have. Actually, I'm not sure what we're gonna have with what we're gonna do exactly with Dave. I think he's going to be showing us some of his some of the artwork that he's drawing as of late. So he was kind of a surprise addition. So I wanted to start Latchkum a little bit early, and if you guys are just joining us, raise your hand. Let me know who's here. Put up a comment in the chat. Let me know who's here, guys. And hello, Dave. How you doing, Dave? So I want to review what is the mission of this channel? The mission of this channel is, of course, to support Seth MacFarlane and Tom Costantino on the amazing work they do to try to give us the best Orville that is possible. And you know, we've done a lot of analysis lately of a lot of television series, including Trek, and and it's just amazing how the Orville found its footing so early on, and how in season 2 they just even stepped it up further. So it's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure to be to be hosting this fan community for the Orville. It really is. I can't say enough about what we have to go back. These 2 seasons we can go back and watch, and I'm probably going to binge watch the whole week the Orville again. It's just such a pleasure. It really is. So we want to support them in all they're doing, them and the whole crew of the Orville, the production crew, the cast, and everybody, and what they're doing. They obviously did stop filming, as everybody, pretty much everybody did. So, but we're here to support all of them, and the other mission of this channel is to keep everybody engaged in the off season. And it's been a long off season. It looks like it might be a little bit longer. So who knows? So if you're just joining us, we are going to be having, I started a little bit early because we're going to be having a few guests that are going to be jumping in later. So I started a little bit early, and everybody is probably glued to another stream right now. and so they'll be coming in little by little. If you're just jumping in and joining us, guys, write a comment in the chat. Let me know who's here. And hello to Dave G Sound, who is our first person to join us. And we're going to start doing some Latchkum. And I'm going to, as we wait for people to join us, I wanted to let you guys know we're going to have a very, very special guest tomorrow. Well, we're going to have actually more than one guest. Tomorrow, Monday the 23rd, we're going to be interviewing Mark Zicree. Hello, live at the Love Shack. Great name. Hello, Trey from Axinar. Latchkum. So tomorrow we're going to be having, guys, we're going to be interviewing Mark Zicree from he's a Star Trek writer, a veteran Star Trek writer, and he's written for so many things. For so many things. We're going to go over all of it tomorrow. He's just written for so many things. Hello, Larry. And we're going to be interviewing Mark Zicree. We're going to have a special co-host. You guys all know her, the Stargate actress, our friend Simone Bailey, who we have interviewed before. And it's going to be a great interview tomorrow. And we might have, it looks like we might have, I don't want to say it yet till it's confirmed, but it looks like we might have a few other people show up, a few surprises show up in the chat, in the panel, excuse me. So tomorrow, Mark Zicree and Stargate actress Simone Bailey. Guys, I am gonna throw out, because we're gonna have a few guests later on. I started early. I was just telling people who people are just coming in. We're starting early because we're gonna have a few guests jump in later. So I'm just gonna start off Latchkum like now, like boom. Let's go with Latchkum. Well, yeah, you're still waiting on Nerd. I don't know. Nerdrotic is gonna have him on. Well, Mark Zicree is going to be on Orville Nation tomorrow, so you guys just come check it out. And if Gary said he's going to be on, I'm sure he's going to be on very soon. Gary's very busy. Gary is a very busy man. So, all right, guys, I'm going to throw out the first question. Who? Let's start with some weekly stuff. So. This week we had Picard episode 9. Raise your hand if you saw Picard episode 9. Raise your hand if you saw Picard episode 9. Is this a sci-fi uniform? You know what? I got it because it looked like one, but it's not. And when I got it, I got it a long time ago. I thought this was very this little patch here, I thought this was very Star Trek-y. This little zipper here. It's not, though. It's not a uniform. So guys, who saw Picard episode 9? I didn't. Okay, none of you guys did. Okay. Oh, Jet saw it. Okay. Okay. All right. That was kind of just an icebreaker question. Looked like some Sequest DSV. Yeah, I guess it does. I don't know. I always liked it. It's a little tight on me now. I got to lose some weight. Yeah, a lot of us are not ecstatic about Picard. So yeah. All right. Here's first Latchkum question. I'm going to ask the first Latchkum question, guys. Who is your favorite Orville character and why? Who is your favorite Orville character and why? I'm asking you, Dave G. I'm asking you, Jet. I'm asking you, Larry. I'm asking you, Axinar Comics, Trey. I'm asking you, live at the Love Shack. Who is your favorite? Who's your favorite? Larry says Alara. Oh, awesome. Why Alara? Why Alara, Larry? Jet says, baby, baby, uh-huh. Why Laura, Larry? Again, you guys are just, anybody just joining us. Who is your favorite Orville character? Who's your favorite Orville character, guys? Who is your favorite Orville character? Larry says Laura. Who is your favorite Orville character and why? I want to see what Jet says about this. I wonder who Jet is going to choose. Alara, live at the Love Shack says Alara because the few damsel in distress scenes. Okay. Larry says she's smart and strong in both universes. Yeah. We all miss Alara, don't we? Hello, German 3D printing nerd. Hey, Don. Guten Abend, Don. Danke für mit wir kommen. Ich habe alles meines Deutsch vergessen. Entschuldigung, Don. Claire. Oh, Claire. Jet says Claire. She's freaky, she's freaky and open-minded. Okay. Jet, she's freaky and open-minded. Voodoo Priestess, hello. Voodoo Priestess. Ed Mercer, good character development. Yeah. Oh, Captain Mercer is going to be a great captain. He's going to be one of the best. He's going to be one of the best Trek captains. Yaphet, because I'm the resident pervert. Yaphet, because I'm the resident pervert of the Latchkum, of course. That's funny live at the Love Shack. Jet says Kelly is a close second. Dave says Ed. I just like him as an actor and captain. It reminds me so much of Galaxy Quest. Yeah, Ed. So Dave G says Ed. Yeah, he likes him as an actor, Seth, and as a captain. Larry says both timelines to be precise. So Voodoo Priestess also says Ed. And so if you got anybody just joining us, who is your favorite Orville actor? I'm sorry, who's your favorite Orville character and why? Who is your favorite Orville character and why? Oh, okay. Okay, German 3D printer. I think that's Trey, actually, who's talking to you, Don. Yaphet don't get enough screen time because budget limitations, of course. That's true. It's probably costly to move that blob around on the screen. Jen says I've been a sci-fi fan. Galaxy Quest DNA for sure. Larry. Yeah. I've been a fan of Scott. Oh, Scott. Okay. Oh, really? Scott Grimes. Oh, yeah. I've been a fan of Scott too. Hello, Stephen Klein, Jaloja. So, guys, anybody who's just joining us, I'm going to ask this question one more time, and then we'll move on. Who is your favorite Orville character, and why? Who is your favorite, Stephen Klein? Who's your favorite Orville character, and why? Some people have said Alara. Some people have said Ed. Someone said Claire. Dr. Finn. So we started early, guys. For anybody who's just jumping in, we started early because we're going to have a few guests on. Anyone seen the German Star Trek fan film from 2000, Digital Ghost? I have not. That's interesting. I'm going to go look that up. Jaloja and Latchkum are two completely different things. Lieutenant Dan. Stephen Klein says Lieutenant Dan. A lot of people like Lieutenant Dan. Yeah. So the girl who's strong as hell, there's actually two of them, Alara and Tala. They're both from the same planet, German 3D printer. They're both from the same planet. Larry says Alara. So, all right, I'm going to pick somebody who can go ahead and ask the first Latchkum question or the next Latchkum question. Dave G Sound. Go ahead. You can ask a question, and you guys can pass too if you don't want to ask it. You can ask a question to the rest of the chat. So any Orville or Trek question we can ask to the rest of the chat. Preferably Orville, but if you guys want to ask a Trek question, that's fine. So Dave G, I'm taking the Latchkum and I'm throwing it to you. The administrator from the Dr. Bashir's dad. Tala. Oh, okay. Tala's the one you're talking about. Larry says it's Alara, damn it. All right. So Dave's thinking of a question. So I'm just, as Dave throws out a question, there he is. There is the man of the hour. We can't, Latchkum is not the same without Adega and Elihu. See if Elihu shows up. Hello, Adega. No, you're not late. We're early. I started early, Adega. Yeah, so if you guys are just joining us, which was your favorite Krill villain of the week, says Live at the Left Shack. While Dave pumps out a question, I'm going to take that question. Who's your favorite Krill villain, if you guys can remember them? The captain of the enemy vessel, the priest of the enemy vessel. What was her name? The girl, the one who tricked Ed. Okay. All right. We're got two questions going. If somebody can answer, what are the other classes of the the Orville's an exploratory class? What are the other classes of the Orville, of the other classes of the ships? And if anybody has a favorite Krill villain, Stephen Klein says Avis. It's his favorite Krill villain. So exploratory class. What are the other classes around the Orville? So what's above and below the Orville? Live the Love Shack, because most of them are dead. Destroyer is one. Diego says Destroyer is one class. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Captain Trek. Is that right? Apollo class? Really? Is that right, Stephen? I used to. I don't remember. Let's see. I'm gonna look this up. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay. Shall I share this image actually? You know what? I think I will share this image. Here. So we can all look at it. That's a good question. That's a good question, Dave. You're gonna. Whoa. What the heck? All right. I don't know what happened. Okay. Was trying to share. I was trying to share something, and I must have done something else. That's a good question. It keeps us up to date on. Just going to show you guys real quick. Let's share that real quick. Okay, so Dave asked us, what are the other classes, and I'm sure he knows, and I don't remember, so I'm looking it up in here. So we have. Let's see if you guys can see that. So we have the cruiser class, the exploratory A, yeah, that's right, the exploratory B, the Leviathan class for Admiralty, the science class. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. I like their hand blaster, says Dave Bob. Hey, Dave Bob. Okay. Yeah, Larry said exploratory A and B. Yeah, sorry guys, I cut out for a sec. I don't know what happened. Yeah, CBS is messing with me. Okay. According with Orville page, we get exploratory, yeah, exploratory A, B, fighter class, Leviathan class. Yep. Yep, that's what it looks like. The same thing you wrote. Love Shack is kind of, yeah, it looks like that's the same thing we're looking at. I failed that test, says Adega. I did too, Adega. I didn't remember that. All right. I'm picking somebody else for another question, guys. Stephen Klein, do you have a question you want to ask your colleagues? Hey, what's up, EH? How you doing, buddy? That's funny, EH. So, Stephen Klein, do you have a question for? Do you have a question for everybody in the chat? And do you have a question for everyone in the chat, Stephen Klein? How's everything going in Japan? You guys over there are better off, I think, right? Yeah, that's what, yeah. Let's see if Stephen has a question. By the way, guys, we started a little bit early because, and I know I always start late. We start a little bit early because we're going to have a few guests on. And as Stephen as Steven answers, he's going to pass. Okay. Let's see. Gotcha, Steven. Let's see. Adega, do you have a question for? Do you have a question, Adega, for the rest of us, or do you want to pass? So, guys, as we wait to see if Adega has a question, I'm just going to remind everybody that tomorrow I'm going to mail you some checks mixed one of these days. You're talking to EH, right? Tomorrow, guys, we're going to be interviewing Space Command creator Mark Zicree on Orville Nation. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And I posted about it. We're also going to have Stargate actress Simone Bailey, who we've interviewed before. She's going to be with us as a co-host to interview Mark Zicree. So, Farscape, I know it's Farscape. I see that, Dave. All right, I'm gonna ask a question because I think Adega is going through like 3 different chats right now. I think he's doing the Tommy thing. I bet he's being omnipresent. I bet. So I'm gonna ask a question, guys. I am gonna ask a question, and I've asked this before, and I asked this a lot, but I want to ask it again. What secondary actor? Oh, just this one. I know. Yeah, I know. You're busy. I'm just messing with you, Adega. I'm just kidding, dude. Yeah. So, what secondary actor do you want to see developed on the Orville this season, in season 3? What secondary actor do you want to see developed on the Orville? And Steven says Ensign Turco. Yeah, I'd love to see more of Ensign Turco. It looks like they started to bring her in a little bit on one of the episodes. Remember, like they're at the bowling alley with John Lamar and Ensign Turco, and he's like, "Oh, we're dating. We're not dating." And they're like, "Oh, we're dating. We're not dating. Whatever." So, yeah, hopefully we're going to see more of Ensign Turco. Who else? What other secondary actors do you want to see, guys? Yeah, let me make sure I just get the invites to our guests. And what other let's see. Okay. Ensign Turco, yeah. You're at work, EH? Okay. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for saying hi, John. For the ship. Oh, okay. For the ship, Adega says, will there be any other weapons defense upgrade? Yeah, upgrades. That's interesting, Adega. Upgrades. Defense weapons. Do you guys? Well, who knows? Maybe we'll start to see the. Maybe we'll start to see the. Maybe we're going to start to see the something similar to a transporter. because that's been on pause. It seems like it's been on pause for a while. Hello, Eccleston Angel. How are you? Good to see you. Number one sci-fi. Hello. I'm not say number one sci-fi. I'm not in Madrid. I'm in a small city outside of Madrid. So it's pretty bad here, guys. I mean not where I am, but in Madrid it's bad. Like 400 people died last night. It's insane. I would, if by the way, guys, spread the word to everybody you know. Spread the word, guys. Everybody you know. If people don't do the distancing and kind of live to relatively being confined and just go out for what's necessary, it's going to be a lot worse over there. It's going to be a lot worse over there. So it's not a joke. It's going to be a lot worse, guys. Eccleston is tired, but you're going to hang out with us for a little bit. You can listen, Eccleston. I was on a panel the other day. I don't know if you guys heard this. I'm going to confess it again. I was on a panel the other day and I fell asleep on the panel. I hadn't slept in like 3 days. I was here. I've been traveling and I literally fell asleep on a panel. So you can fall asleep on us if you want in the chat. Thank you, Trey. I'm gonna bring in George. Hey, George, we're gonna just do a little more Latchkum before we start with Dave. So Dave,
okay, sure.
So guys, all right. So I'm gonna pick somebody else. Eccleston, before you fall asleep on us, do you have a question? Do you want to ask the chat? Eccleston Angel? Been in the apartment for and only go out for groceries. Yeah. Really, it's already been 3 weeks for you? 3D printer? Yeah, Steven's had a couple of good ones. Okay, Steven has another question right now. Hello, Death by Saber. We'll see if... Okay. So Eccleston, what we do is we take turns asking questions to the rest of the chat, but you can pass. But right now, I'm gonna take Steven's question right now. If you want to come up with a question, go ahead, Eccleston. Let's see. Question: if the Enterprise is the flagship of the Federation, then what is considered the flagship of the Planetary Union? So that's interesting. What would it be a Leviathan class, or would it be a cruiser class, a flagship, or probably be a Leviathan class? What do you guys think? Which one? What do you guys think? Would it be a cruiser class or a Leviathan class? My toilet paper supply is okay. I have time to buy another book pack soon. So Death by Saber. No, Peggy, I'm early. We're early. I started early because we're gonna have a few guests on. Hello, Philip Gaming. I think it was actually mentioned in one episode, says Dega. Okay. Oh, the flagship. The flagship is mentioned? Really, guys? Wow, I missed that. Steven, you wanna shed some light on that question then? Oh, can you guys imagine that in the Orville or is that what you guys are hinting at? That in the Orville universe there's a ship called the Enterprise? There very well could be. I mean, it's a very popular name for vessel. Yeah, I think some people like the Star Trek animated series. Yep, Voodoo Priestess. Peggy says the Enterprise was one at one time. I know YouTube doesn't notify really. I don't get notifications for anybody, Philip. So the Orville is an exploratory class A, exploration class A vessel. Good night, German 3D printing nerd. Take care. Be safe. Too close for comfort for copyright infringement, says Philip. I know, right? Yeah. I bet they'll hint at it, though. I bet they'll be like, oh, that ship's called the Enter. You guys are talking about the animated series, right? George, do you want to ask a general question about the Orville to the chat that they can all answer?
Yeah, actually, I do. The interesting thing is, the Orville has little flaps in the back. 1, 3. What do the flaps mean, or what technical purpose do these flaps have?
Okay. Alrighty. What do you guys think? I mean, just to answer Eccleston's question real quick, we don't know. We have no idea about delays. Yeah, those rings are supposedly like in the cells or engines or something. Is that where you said what to?
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly they're like nacelles.
So the more rings you have, the faster you go?
I don't know. Or Larry says hyperdrive. Philip Gaming says nacelles. Adega says engines. Oh, the flagship again. Adega says the flagship was the Olympia. Really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're gonna get. They are the equivalent of nacelles, apparently, from my understanding. That's my understanding. Hello, Rambling Canuck. Quantum Drive, says Stephen Klein. So, okay. Okay. What do you think, George? What do you think they are? Nacelles? Hyperdrive? What do you think?
Well, I mean, we see from the visuals that you're presenting that one works on a ship as well as 3, and the shapes are not similar, and that's perplexing, because while Star Trek is Star Trek, the one thing that they are consistent on is the warp nacelles.
Yeah.
There is a consistency there, and there's a reason for that consistency. You have to stick within universe canon and be consistent, and no pun intended, seriously.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it. I don't remember seeing a starship. Actually, no, I have seen starships with 1 nacelle, and I've seen starships with 3 nacelles. the Dreadnought from the Next Generation that was manned by Will Riker in one of
Mhm.
the future Q travel episodes. But it's the shape is definitely different, and
Yeah, Dave.
just bugs
And
me.
I just want to say hello to Steph. Hello, Steph, and Cross Comics. Hello, guys.
Greetings, everybody. Greetings.
So sorry, you were saying, George?
So the shape is really has. It's been bothering me for a long time, but I've never openly discussed it. But now the opportunity has come. Um, it just it's it, if there's a reason for it, I'd love to know because
Yeah,
it's just bugs me.
read. Let's. You want to go ahead and read Dega's explanation,
Yeah, yeah.
George?
Um, they are indicative of speed and performance. Each can work independently, but all three for peak performance. They had traveled and limited ability, while one or two are dead. Oh, so they're redundant star drives. Okay, you know what? That's actually pretty clever.
That makes sense.
Yeah, a redundant star drive system. That's actually kudos to Mr. Odega.
Yes, Dega. You should be a sci-fi author. Oh, you are.
I'm shocked. I tell you, shocked.
Yeah. Hello, Jeff. Um, hello, Mr. Lindell. So yeah, we started a little bit early, guys, because we were going to have a guest on, and he's going to join us soon. He's a comics guy like George is from he's from Marvel Comics and DC Comics. Let's get one more question in
He,
before.
he's a
Sorry,
he's a,
George.
he's a legend.
He's a legend. He is a legend. Thank you, George, for clarifying that. Yeah, guys, one more question. I'm picking somebody. Death by Saber. Do you have a question for the rest of the chat? A Star Trek or Orville question? If not, you can pass. That's fine. Let's see if Death by Saber has a question. Yes, we're happy to see you here, Jeff. Peggy says, I think it's interesting. Just the relationship in the fleet. That's interesting. Chosen to have Isaac. That is interesting. You know what? While we wait, let's take this question from Steven, who is always he's a plethora of questions. Who do you guys think? Who do you guys think can process data quicker? Uh, Data or Isaac? Information quicker? Data or Isaac? Eccleston says Isaac. DG says data. That's an interesting question. Yeah, that is an interesting question, Peggy.
I say Isaac as well.
Isaac. You say Isaac as well, George? Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Isaac has the. We just lost Dave. He came in and we just lost him. Hello, Tink. Isaac says Tink. Philip Gaming says Isaac. Yeah, sure, Philip. You're just brown nosing the Orville people. The Orville, of course, the Orville actor says Isaac.
Isaac's pure machine. Data is a confluence of machine and algorithms that try to change his logical thinking.
Well, was an interesting question, guys. All right, let's see if we can. That's an interesting question.
You know what? Let me expand that question. Is there actual a tech sheet on Data and Isaac telling us how quickly their processors run and what firmware they have and all that stuff?
I mean, I don't. I mean, there probably is for Data, but I don't know about Isaac. Peggy says Data is an android. Isaac sends his information back to the planet. And he sends it to the Kalon cloud, right, Peggy? Here's Dave. Hello, Mr. Dave.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. I've been having all kinds of technical problems that everyone hasn't been plagued with. So.
Oh, okay. Well, no rush. We're going to take another question for Latchkum while you get ready, okay?
Okay. Well, I'm actually, yeah, if you want to do that, and then let me know.
Okay. So we're going to take another question. We're going to take one more question, and I'm going to put, Data has it stated his stats before, says Philip. Philip, I'm going to put you on the spot. Does the Orville actor have an Orville question for the chat? I'm putting you on the. You can't pass on this question, Philip. You got to come up with a question before we start watching Dave. And Dave, by the way, let me introduce you to George Peter Gatsis. I know you guys kind of know of each other, but you haven't met.
And we text each other back and forth, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just so you and everybody knows, Dave and I have been trying to hook up together to talk geeky stuff and business and whatnot, and it just happens to be on the Orville Nation.
Oh. Pass? Oh no, he's not passing. You can't pass. You're our only official Orville actor, Philip. You got to give us an Orville question.
And if you guys want, I can go ahead and start drawing while we're talking here.
Oh, yes. You know what? Sure. Let me bring you up full screen, and let's go ahead and ask the final question before while we watch Dave start. Okay, Philip has a question. And we're going to have it, by the way, it's going to be a real treat tonight watching Dave, guys. Let's get one more question in before. Would anyone like a spin-off series like that Star Trek has done? Yeah. So who would any one of you guys like do we want an Orville spin-off series? Like a DS9 or a Voyager or an Enterprise of TNG?
Yes.
George says yes. By the way, I can almost guarantee, not because I know anything, but as a fan, I think it's going to happen. I think we are going to have a spinoff series eventually. I would love it. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about it? That's a good question that Philip came up with. Adiga says maybe after a couple more seasons. Yeah, I would think around maybe season 5. Tink says more seasons and a movie first. Peggy says, I think we need more seasons before we start spinoff. Maybe Isaac can find some Borg, said Larry. Yes, we'd love a spinoff series of the Orville. I want more seasons of Orville too. Yeah. This is Cross Comics. Not yet, says Eccleston. Yes, the Wilbur, says Stephen Klein. Yeah, why not the Wilbur? Characters have grown enough to have the actors take on a role like a transfer, but yes, in a few years. I wouldn't want to lose any of our actors to another show, though. Who knows? That's interesting. Spin-offs, yes, but 3 more seasons. next season of the Orville start? When does next season of the Orville? Yeah, it was supposed to start like September, October. I don't know if it might get delayed. By the way, if it does get delayed, I don't know about you guys, but I would like to see, like, if they had to delay it because of everything that's going on, maybe it would be nice for them. It would be nice if they went ahead and didn't delay it and maybe just gave us half a season and then a break and then the second half of the season. Something like the way some web streaming has done. But Captain Lieutenant Dan says Stephen Klein. Adiga says they need to write in space flowers. Oh, I have to have a bit. I'm going to do a stream. I wasn't able to do it last night. We have to have a stream to talk about episode 9 because for a whole bunch of reasons. There is confirmation of the tie between, well, nobody's talking about it, between STD and Picard. Trek shows on Orville would have been done right, unlike Trek shows. Yeah, Steph. All right, guys. So let's spin off involving Alara and the Zillions. Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
I would be down for that.
Dave would be down for that. Okay, guys. So let's go. Let's check out what Dave is up to. So Dave Beatty, guys. Dave Beatty is a 30-year veteran of the comic book industry, just like George. And we have really two spectacular talents with us tonight, and we're going to be learning about Dave's work. Dave, this looks really familiar. What are we looking at?
Oh, I'm just designing sort of an alien crew member. I thought maybe for the Orville that might be kind of fun. So it's just kind of an alien Orville crew member.
So it's like an Orville inspired. Oh wow.
Yeah. When it gets done, it's still kind of rough, but it'll get there. This will be my first time actually drawing this uniform. Actually, normally whenever I do late night sketches and stuff like on Facebook, it's usually comic book stuff because that's what everyone thinks of me for. Even though my first Crater series is actually a science fiction series called Star God. But everyone always thinks of me for superhero stuff now. Yeah. So I've done. Go ahead.
Oh, Dave, Larry just wrote a comment, and I was thinking the exact same thing. This looks like Doug Jones could play this character that you're drawing.
Yes, he could. I was about to give him like the third arm. I can't remember that character from the Star Trek animated series. I was going to give him like the third. Let me just get the uniform down right before I start getting too crazy. So
I'm digging this idea that you're doing. Wow.
I thought it'd be fun, and that way people can watch me draw. That's what most people want to watch me do anyway. So I thought it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
People they're curious if they want to know about the process, but otherwise they can just kind of chill, and you guys can still do what you guys normally do. So
wow, this is great, Dave. Thank you. It's Dave G is asking, is that pencil or ink?
Well, it was pencil, and now I'm getting ready to ink it. So this is actually a micron. This is a 01. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to do some of the interior details, and then I'm going to beef up the exterior hold line or the contour line on the outside of the body, and we're going to do like some planets and kind of a space scene kind of behind them. The trick's going to be drawing the Orville, the kind of command kind of insignia. I've never actually drawn that before, so that's where things are going to get a little dodgy for me. So, but we'll see how it turns out. So,
wow, and I'm gonna put Dave Beatty. Is that the correct pronunciation of your last name, Beatty?
Yes, Yes, it is.
Okay.
Just like Warren Beatty, but with only one T.
Okay, I'm gonna put Dave's Twitter into the chat.
And I was going to say, if people are curious to check out my work, they could also go see my
YouTube?
Red Skirt Club comic.
Oh, okay.
Just because I think people that like the Orville would enjoy Red Skirt. So
Yeah, let me put that in there as well. Thanks, Ildega. I appreciate what you're doing.
it's just fun.
I think this is an amazing treat to watch you put this in, and I can see, wow, and just an Orville inspired alien. This is awesome. Thanks, Dave. This is a real treat.
It's the idea is it's sort of like an alien crew member, like the kind of character you walking around in the background. I thought. I kind of went back and forth on what I was. My apologies.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Did you guys hear that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I mean,
turn this off.
Dave. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know I could hear the. Sorry about that. I always forget about that. So. Yeah, they're kind of walking around in the background. Not someone that they focus on, but just someone in a cool alien kind of get up that would be like a.
Yeah. Now I'm putting the link for davebeatty.com in here, guys. And is the red skirt thing, is that the right place to find the red skirt thing? Or
Yes, it's redskirtonline.com.
Oh, okay. Let me find. Hold on.
Red Skirts started off as a Star Trek parody comic, and then it's kind of taken on a life of its own, and it's sort of mine and Al Sparrow, who's the writer, our love letter to science fiction and movies from like the 60s to the 80s.
Did you say red shirt or red skirt?
Red Skirts. It's an all-female security squad.
Okay.
The red skirts, not the red shirt.
Okay, gotcha. That's what I thought. Okay.
And yes, I do Comic Cons from time to time. Most of them currently are not happening with everything that's going on, obviously. But I do Comic Cons from time to time. I think trying to think. Normally, I do the one that's in Phoenix every year, but they keep changing the name for different reasons. And then I've done San Diego. Actually, a big bucket list thing for me was actually getting to do San Diego Comic Con actually in official capacity, and I actually signed and sketched for fans one year at the DC Comics booth. That was a big treat for me, growing up as a DC Comics fan. And I'm making this up on the fly, so if it seems like I'm kind of questioning what I'm doing, I am, because I don't really have a plan. It's just like
this is. I love this, and I've actually been wanting to ask George to watch him draw too. I think I asked you once, right, George?
Yes, and I forgot to moisturize my hands, so it wouldn't look pretty. Dave, tell us how you got to Marvel and DC doing your artistic work.
Well, I started out actually as a ghost artist back in the 90s and assisted on different books. The first book I ever worked on was Guardians of the Galaxy Annual number 4, which was a huge fun treat for me. It's a version of the team that resembled absolutely nothing that you saw in the movie. But it was a lot of fun to get to work on that. And then I went on from there and worked on a bunch of different titles. I spent an entire year on Alpha Flight drawing backgrounds.
Is that the John Byrne run? Which part of Alpha Flight?
It was the Steve Siegel, Scott Clark run. Was the one that I worked on. It was, I guess, it would have been Alpha Flight Volume 2. It would have been the relaunch after the Byrne run.
Okay, gotcha. So, which artist did you work with? Can you name a few of the names?
Oh yeah, I think it's pretty much common knowledge now. I mean, obviously, Scott Clark on Alpha Flight. That's where I met Scott. We got to be good friends, and eventually I went on to do a ton of work actually with Scott. When eventually I got to the point where I was actually being credited. But I did start out as a ghost. And then after that, I went on and Starguys was my first creator-owned series, as I said earlier. And then, let's see, what after that? I was actually ghosting on Justice League Cry for Justice when they decided to change what we were doing. And that was the first time I actually got a credit on a book. That book was having some deadline difficulties. And so they bumped me up to regular creative team. And then from then on, I got credited for everything I worked on. And I worked on a lot of fun stuff. I worked on Batman Incorporated. I worked on Justice League of America, the New 52 version. I think a big series that I worked on was actually Brightest Day. That was actually before the New 52. That was the relaunch. A lot of people are not familiar with the comic industry. They constantly relaunch the titles from time to time, trying to make them more accessible to fans and casual readers. So they're constantly relaunching things. And so New 52 was one of the big relaunches. But I worked on Grifter for New 52, Mr. Terrific, I Vampire, just tons of stuff. And then eventually over at Marvel, wow. I only have one major credit at Marvel, and that was actually X-Men Story of the Braddock, which is like a Starlock tie-in book. But for people that are into science fiction, I guess the big ones would say Grifter had a science fiction connection because it was kind of like a superhero version of the Rowdy Roddy Piper movie They Live. And then Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, that obviously takes place in the future, has a huge science fiction connection. And then, of course, Red Skirt's my current creator-owned work, too.
Dave, Peggy Oaks asks, what markers do you use when you're doing your cards? Is it the same as when you're doing your comics?
It varies because actually when I'm actually doing comics, I actually prefer to ink with a brush. So I do change my materials quite a bit. Currently, I'm using Pelican ink. I find that Pelican ink has the highest ink density, so it tends to look the best to me. Otherwise, whenever you're filling in like large areas of black, it looks really blotchy and stuff, and it drives me nuts. But I find Pelican ink seems to be about the best stuff on the market right now. Otherwise, you're having to leave ink like sitting out for a while in order for enough of the water to kind of dissipate in order for it to actually behave correctly. So yeah. But what? And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say but for doing stuff like this, these jobs are kind of just sketch card gigs are usually kind of quick turnaround type jobs. So you have to be able to just move really quickly because of the deadlines and the sheer volume that you're often being asked to do. So I tend to use the microns because they don't bleed too much when you actually put the markers, because I'm actually going to render this in full color. So we're not just going to leave it black and white.
George, how would you answer that question about that Peggy asked about the cards?
I would go
for yourself.
I will go to the store and buy the cheapest markers and pens I could find. Seriously, I,
Okay.
I use big pens. I've been using big pens forever.
Really?
Yeah, big pens are my equivalent to other people's pencils.
Mm.
And back in the day, I used Sharpie markers, but then I discovered that you actually get high on these markers, and it really doesn't go well with your brain cells. And I only discovered that after. So big pens and markers. I don't use Copic markers because they're too expensive. I mean, you gotta give a kidney away just to get a decent color range from those markers.
I actually use Prismacolor markers actually when I do my color rendering. And one of the things I like about them is a lot of times the pigment in them actually stays active a lot longer than people realize. There's actually some good YouTube videos, actually, if you think your markers are dead, and you can actually go and buy alcohol and actually refill the alcohol in them and actually bring them back to life. So,
Oh wow.
Yep, yep. I know somebody who went out and bought himself. I think it was a '93 red wine, and tried to revitalize his markers, but he ended up getting drunk. Hey, did you guys hear about this guy that had the left side of his body cut?
What do you mean?
He had the left side of his body cut off.
No, or is that a joke?
He's all right now.
Wow, I am amazed at what's coming to life here. Wow. I would love to be able to do this like you guys, man. I think it's amazing. You guys can do this stuff.
I'm going to simplify this emblem down a little bit just because it's so tiny. Just so you know, this is the size of a regular trading card that I'm drawing on. So, like, that's my hand in proportion to the card. pretty small.
By the way, guys, anybody who's just joining us, yeah, this is an Orville-inspired character that Dave is coming up with right on the spot. Dave, you want to tell us a little bit about Retro Rogues Radio? This is your podcast and YouTube channel?
Yeah, Retro Rogues Live is we stream on a bunch of different platforms. You can actually find it on YouTube actually by searching for Base God 14. That's BASSGOD 14. That's my co-host Eric Alexander. That's actually his YouTube channel. And let's see here. I've got a template here. We're going to put some planets in. I'm just going to do the best way to do this.
I'm going to put that link up.
So we do pop culture news. We talk about streaming wars content. We're in the process of doing every episode of Picard. I don't want to talk about Picard because I don't want to start a fight. Let's see.
I know, Dave, you're liking Picard, right? That's correct, right?
I don't hate it as much as Eric does. We'll leave it at that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a fan either. As it currently stands, I'd much rather have a Pike show. If I were in charge, I'd much rather have a Pike show. And I actually said something controversial. I think in some aspects, I think Discovery Season 2 is a better show. I got a little bit of hate for that. I probably shouldn't have said that right then.
I got it, Adega. Thanks. I appreciate it, Adega. Thank you, my friend.
All right. So we got that going there. All right, but no, it's just kind of a fun show. We like to have people comment during the show. I actually give away, like this sketch card I'm doing right here. We actually give original sketch art cards away actually during the show for people that comment. We just like to have a lot of fun, but it's a very fan-focused, fan-driven show. Yeah, just pop culture news, streaming wars. We usually have one retro topic. That's what we call it, retro roads. So our last episode, we were talking about the 80s Flash Gordon movie. We'll review comic books that we pulled off the spinner rack as kids, that kind of stuff. So,
guys, please sub. I just put up the Retro Rogues radio channel from YouTube channel. Please sub to it. These guys have some of the best content on the internet. I kid you not. And they're flying under the radar for a whole bunch of reasons, which I don't know, Dave. I think someday at some point you guys are going to have a YouTube channel that says Retro Rogues Radio, because people are not finding it, I think.
Oh well, it's actually retro. It's just Retro Rogue. And then
okay.
because it's all branded off.
Can you hear me, George? Did we lose Dave, or is it me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, like I said, guys, I don't know if Dave. I think we lost Dave momentarily. Let's see. We lost Dave momentarily, but seriously, these guys have some of the best content. I think it's some of the best content, especially when they're breaking down Star Trek. Eric has got some great analysis, and Dave does too. They have some great content on their channel. So here we go. We got them. There we are. We got Dave back.
Sorry about that. We've had some storms in the area, and it's been wreaking havoc.
So yeah, I was telling everybody that you guys have some of the best content. Seriously, Dave, you guys have some of the best content on the internet. So we need to get everybody subbed to your channel, to your Retro Rogues channel.
Well, that's kind of you to say. I quite enjoy what you're doing here with Orville Nation. I'm a fan of the show, and I'm quite a big fan of what you guys are doing here. And because I don't know if some people realize, but I've actually been a part of the Latchkum episodes before, just in the chat.
Yes, you were. You have been. You have been.
And just for fun, because I really enjoy just talking about the Orville. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually just rendering this in gray. So this is a 30% cool gray. It is a Prismacolor marker, in case anyone's curious. And I'm just kind of putting in some tones. I'm doing kind of the underdrawing, and then what I'll do is I'll actually come back and actually do colors actually over top of it, because I'm basing the colors out. So.
I'm amazed that the size of the drawing that you're doing, I'm amazed that you're getting that amount of detail in the face and the rest of the drawing, actually.
It's I've been doing sketch card gigs for a little while now. There's some people that are way better at this than I am, but sometimes I love doing them, and then sometimes I hate doing them, just because it can sometimes be a tremendous amount of work. I think probably some of my favorite things I've gotten to work on actually doing sketch card gigs is I actually got to work on a Ghostbusters set. That was a lot of fun.
Wow.
And I got to do sketch cards for Batman and Superman. Those are always fun to do. Those are always, those characters that I've just loved since I was a kid. And then this is actually a 60% gray, cool gray. Going to kind of come in and kind of beef up these shadow areas a little bit more.
Yes, Taylor and Eccleston. I'm in Europe. Yeah. Any comments, George, on this fine artwork?
No, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Tell us, what are your techniques in terms of inking pages for artists? Do you have one set of rules? I mean, you are effectively working on different styles, and it must be difficult to adapt to so many different styles, is it not?
It can be. The trick with it always is I always kind of go back to just fundamentals of inking. So whenever I'm approaching someone's work who's new, like for example, like I worked on it with Daniel Semper on Grifter, but then I also worked with Scott Clark on Grifter, and I also worked with Mark Michaels on Grifter. And those artists have completely different, wildly, radically different styles. And the trick is just I tend to try to find something I think kind of fits artistically. Like when I look at their work, like if there's someone they've worked with in the past, and then I always try to think in terms of what is something new I could bring to the work that they haven't had before. I'm a big fan of really. I'm going to test this marker here real quick to make sure. See, that's burnt out, so we're going to throw that in the trash. That's why you test them before you start drawing on stuff.
Dave, do you ever go to the ECCC?
I have been to Emerald City 3 times over the years. One time set up actually as a vendor, one time as a guest, and I was there I think a year or 2 ago. I was actually just walking around saying hi to people and visiting.
Okay, so Peggy Oaks says she will see you whenever you go next.
Oh, okay, cool. That would be awesome. So what I tend to do is see what other people have done, because sometimes the artists have worked with other inkers, for example. And then also too, what I do is I reach out and I say, hey, who is the inker whose work that you've enjoyed the most that's worked on your work before? Like who do you wish you could have on this book besides me? Typically how that conversation goes. And then they'll tell me, I wish I could have this person, or I wish I could have that other person. And then that kind of points me in sort of like a style or a direction. A lot of the contemporary artists right now, for example, are heavily influenced by, for example, like Bill Sienkiewicz. But if you follow Bill Sienkiewicz, through his inspiration, you end at I think it's Sergio. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but that's actually who inspired Bill Sienkiewicz. So then what I would do is I would go and look at the content that Sergio Tope was doing in order to also pull inspiration besides just only looking at Bill Sienkiewicz's work. Does that make sense? Not a weirdly too complicated answer.
No, it makes sense.
And
we already have people in the chat asking if you're going to give this away in a contest, Dave.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. For
Steve
sure. I don't see why.
And a few other, I saw somebody else ask. Hello, Trey from Axonar. Hello, our friend Trey, Axonar Comics. You guys are doing amazing things over there at Axonar and Axonar Comics. Is that Beast Boy from Teen Titans or a Skrull? Says Trey.
It's just an alien. I think it's just an alien guy.
It's an Orville-inspired alien that Dave's coming up with.
Kind of a like the kind of background character crew member you would see walking around. That's my thought, anyway. I have actually worked on Titans at one point, but Beast Boy was not part of that particular book because we actually handled a flashback sequence that actually focused on the original Teen Titans. So it was like the classic versions of Robin and Wonder Girl, Speedy, Kid Flash.
That's definitely the right blue.
Well, like I said, I am a fan of the show. Not all these details are probably right, but I know they're in the right wheelhouse. I'm trying to have it be accurate.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
But I've not worked on Orville in any official capacity at all. So there is a little bit of guesswork going on here. So
wow, that is freaking amazing. I mean, from wow.
So now we're going to do, I think we will work on doing some planets now. Let me grab a couple different colored markers and let's see what we can do here with this.
This is like Derulio's.
Yeah, I could see that. I could probably see that. Good point. I wasn't thinking of him, but that's a good call. It does kind of resemble him quite a bit, actually. Like I said,
he looks different though from that species, though.
Yeah, well, I was trying to my inspiration was more that the Star Trek animated series back in the day. They had I can't remember the name of the character. He had like 3 arms. It was like actually a navigator. And that's kind of what I was thinking of. And I actually went with the blue because I am thinking in terms of color scheme. So
I know,
I'm
right?
going to have so that it will visually, the colors are going to be kind of complementary. And then some of these markers I need to actually
is that going to be like a moon in the back?
Yeah, kind of a planet, kind of a gas giant, kind of a planet. It's kind of coming together here slowly.
Wow. Now, yeah, guys. So we have 2 amazing veterans of the comic book industry here. Dave is doing this amazing piece of work right before our eyes, and I urge you to go back and rewatch this, guys, because we saw it from the start. And we have George Peter Gatsis here, who is our good friend of the channel, and our constant collaborator on many things. And guys, I want you to I'm going to put up both Dave's channel again and George Peter Gatsis' channel. And also, guys, sub to Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say I've been checking out a lot of George's work, and I quite like it. So, and he's right. We've been trying to connect. I'm constantly, I'm always trying to do too much. So usually the reason I can't connect with someone is because I'm just trying to do too much. And
yeah, George's stuff is a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
That's amazing. Look at it. I mean, it's just forming so quickly. In color, too.
And see, this is kind of the fun thing because this orange is kind of burnt out. But see how I just kind of let it, the burnout part kind of go, and it kind of suggests something that really wasn't even there. So sometimes when your tools are kind of going, I always tell people, it's like, don't be so quick to throw them out because you never know how you can find a use for them. All right, so now that we've got that, I'm going to, let's see here, what's next? Let's go ahead and put the face in, and I'm trying to determine, I don't want to just make it just black. So let's try something. This might be where I go horribly awry.
Now, Dave, is it common for you to get to this point where it's almost done and screw up somehow?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But the trick is you just have to be able to save it and then keep going.
Okay.
That's the thing. You just things sometimes don't work out as planned, and that's just kind of like life. So actually, there's a part in his ear that the ink was still there, and it actually bled and it smeared. But
Yeah.
I got a fix, I think, for that. So.
Okay.
And,
Yeah,
and,
you
Da-
guys.
and Dave, if you make a mistake, do you undo?
Yeah. not with this medium. Unfortunately, no. Not with this medium. And I apologize if the camera is shaking. The camera is really mounted to my drawing board, so it may shake a little bit here as I color. The trick with it is always I do a lot of digital work too. Actually, I do a lot of stuff with CGI. And I love to work digitally, so I do a lot of my Red Scarves is done. It's actually a combination of hand drawn characters, actually with CGI elements. All the ships and the environments and a lot of the props and that kind of stuff are all CGI, and planets are usually painted digitally in Photoshop. It's kind of the way that I personally would. I guess Red Scarves is sort of the way I would prefer to do a book. But a lot of times the companies, they don't, when you work for them, they want things done the way they've always been done. So it's kind of hard sometimes to get someone to think too experimental. I did, however, do a totally CGI book actually with Batman Incorporated. Batman Incorporated was totally CGI. So now that I've got that, I'm going to try, and this might be where I make a horrible mistake. So we'll see what happens. I just don't want to make it just straight black. This purple is just overpowering that blue. So it's almost like it didn't even matter. Oh well, live and learn. I thought they might activate a little bit more, but they're not. So there you go. Creative decision didn't go the way I thought it was going to. That's life. Keep going. But yeah, I started doing this actually on my my Facebook page because I saw a lot of my other friends were doing it to give people something else to. A lot of people love to draw and they like the color, and some people are always wanting to know more about like process, like how you actually do things. And I thought, well, if I actually draw while they watch, they can ask questions, and then I can walk through the steps. So it gives people, if they enjoy to draw and they've got some markers or they want to do some stuff, it's kind of something fun they can occupy their mind with besides all these other things that are going on right now.
Peggy asks, Dave, why wouldn't you have done the background blue first before filling out the planets once you started putting them in? She says.
Typically you want to go lighter to darker because it's easier to fix that way. So and then I didn't want to just make it black, so I wasn't quite sure because I wasn't sure exactly the decision I was going to make. I was just going to be in the moment. So it's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just kind of in the moment and letting it be whatever it's going to be. Let's see. So what do I want to do now? I think I'm just going to leave it like that, and then we'll go ahead and start. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some white kind of highlights with some Prismacolor pencils, which are these right here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of extra stuff actually with a white gel pen. And so, like, for example, like if you do that, it kind of helps the form to feel a little bit more rounded. You don't always have to, these are kind of extra steps. You don't always have to do these. And then the camera may not be able to pick too much of this up, but it just adds a little bit of something extra whenever you kind of do this kind of work. And I apologize. Sometimes I just get really quiet when I draw.
No, it's okay. It's just a pleasure to watch.
So this is where I'm going to try to save these planets. It's actually with this. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try to kind of suggest kind of some clouds on the planets back here. It may have already made them too dark, but that's where I'm going to try and cover up some of my mistakes.
When you, Dave, when you draw, do you sometimes draw with a story in mind, even though the character has never it has never been existed before?
Yeah, I do. Normally everything does involve a script, and you do want to kind of know what you're trying to achieve, with your characters. But sometimes it's fun just to do something just to do it, which is kind of like this. But no, yeah, usually there is a design for a character in mind, specifically what you're trying to achieve or what you're trying to do. For sure. Yeah, that's always best. And I think we'll just do some stars back here. But yeah, normally, you want to have a story in mind for your character. I see this guy as just being sort of like that new character who comes in, who's been reassigned. No one knows anything about him. He's just kind of always walking around in the background, and people are kind of giving him a weird look because no one's quite sure what his story is.
Yeah, I can see that. Totally.
And it might be one of those things where it's like they don't even know what he does. What does that guy even do? That'd be kind of funny, And the Captain Mercer's like, I don't know.
Let me just say hi to Big Daddy O, to Kathia, to Herb, to Eccleston, to Trey, to Peggy, Taylor Beats, everybody who's in here.
Can you guys actually see these little stars? Is that coming across?
Yeah.
Like that?
Actually, yeah, we can see them.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, all right. So I think, in all honesty, for what this is, I think that might be good. So
blue is command on the Orville, Peggy.
Yep. All right, so there we go.
Wow. Amazing. What a treat. Amazing.
But,
can you do a zoom in, Dave?
Oh, this thing's mounted to this thing. I could.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I've got this whole there's 3 lights and a mount, and it's so weird because I'm actually kind of further away from this than you would realize. So I feel like I'm drawing like a foot away from it. I can, if you want to actually minimize, if you'll just minimize my screen, I'll actually take this off the mount and I'll actually get it closer. But I don't want to take it off the mount while people are watching. It might make them motion sick.
Wow. Eccleston, you've been in the hospital with pneumonia? I hope you're okay. You're back home? I hope you're okay. Wow. Yeah, that is amazing. What a great idea. Thanks, Dave. That was a great idea to just come in and start our chat this way. Wow.
I thought it'd be more fun. I have a face for radio, so if people really have to see my face, they can go check out my show. You're not missing anything. This is the interesting thing I do. So.
Yeah, it was really cool to see in real time. Yep.
Well, I think that if you'll go back to the split screen where there's you and George are on there, that'll minimize, and then I'll take this off the mount and I'll get the camera a little bit closer. I just don't want to do it while we're focused on me because I don't want to make people motion sick. All right, hold on. We'll give it a shot anyway. All right. Let me get this out of the way. Is that a little bit better? Can you guys see?
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Oh,
Looks nice. You know,
yeah.
I think we're stuck on you because PJ has dropped out for technical issues.
All right, so I'm gonna put this back. Okay. All right, so as they said, I'll start another one here.
Wait a minute. Let's
Okay.
see from the chat. Any requests from the chat? You know, and not in terms of the detail of the character, but the theme of the character. So in the chat, just put a theme of the character that you like Dave to draw. You know, water creature, air creature, rock creature. You know, make it up. Let's give the chat 30 seconds to catch up. Do a Xylem, a slime creature, Yapit, a droid robot.
I could do a robot. You guys want to see a robot? That might be fun.
All right, let's see a robot.
All right. Okay. Cool. All right. Robot it is. Okay. Robot. I like drawing robots. I'm going to sharpen my pencil here real quick, and then we'll get going. Let's see. I think what might be fun to do is for a robot is actually a. I wonder if there's anybody in the chat who remembers shows like Jason of Star Command or Space Academy. They always had those sort of kind of Herbie the robot kind of looking character. I mean, I guess kind of like not like Wally, but the other character from Wally, the female robot. Let's do something like that. That might be fun. Let's go.
Okay, now as you're drawing it, do you have some sort of story to this character, some backstory? Yeah, where does this character come from? All that, anything, you know, what's on your mind?
I'm thinking about just doing something that visually is kind of interesting to me, but I'm thinking of when I was a kid, they always had those sort of small sort of robots that they almost kind of look like toys. And I'm also thinking of like Herbie the robot too from the Fantastic Four. So it's kind of what I'm thinking of. Right now it's kind of a little too BB-8-ish, so we might need to mix this up a little bit more. So that's all I'm thinking at the moment. But I'm thinking he would float. Maybe he's some sort of like an exterior droid that would repair things, like a repair droid. So maybe we'll give him like some kind of like a little repair arm or something here. It's like a tool of some kind on it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of at the moment. You know, he could like float, he could fly in space, it would be like would do repairs like on the outside of the ship, kind of the idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of Herbie.
Yeah, I like that kind of style of robot.
You know, I remember. I think the reason why there was Herbie instead of Johnny on the Fantastic Four cartoon is because they didn't want kids to have Johnny as a hero because they would start fires. So they switched it up with Herbie.
I could see that.
Yeah. Despite the fact that let's see, kids have before the Fantastic Four cartoon, kids have been reading the Fantastic Four for like I think it's 10, 15 years. Prior to that, 20 years, and I don't think any one of them intentionally started a fire unless they wanted to, cook hot dogs.
No, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. But I could see the corporate mindset behind making that decision, too, for legal reasons. But yeah, I think he's kind of float and do like exterior ship repair kind of idea. And then I probably, in all honesty, should be using templates for some of these shapes, but I think it would just slow everything down even more. I don't want to spend too much time on these just so it's not too much like watching paint dry. And I'm thinking he'll be sort of that sort of metal white kind of look. Again, like I said, I'm specifically thinking of like I can't remember all kid. They had all these little robot Saturday morning shows, like Space Academy and Jason Star Command. Kind of what I'm thinking of.
Space Above and Beyond.
Actually, a little bit older than that. When I was a kid, they had a lot of.
Arc 2? Are you talking about that era?
Yes, that era. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes.
Shazam ISIS Hour.
Yep. Yeah, back then.
Yeah.
Because they had like, I remember like the guy who played Dr. Smith from Lost in Space. He was actually one of the characters on one of them. James Doohan was on one of them, who plays Scotty on the original Star Trek. That's kind of the stuff I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Bigfoot and Wild Boy.
Exactly.
Yeah, $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman. Yeah, that was awesome. And the short-lived, the Bionic Boy and the Bionic Dog.
Yep. But I could see that kind of a robot being on the Orville, though, too.
Yeah, I would think about it. There was the Herculoids. What else was there? It was a Johnny Quest.
Yep. So I think I've got that kind of in place. So blow on it for a minute. about the ink smearing too bad. So now I'm just going to erase the pencil lines. And then I'll just leave my little robot guy. And then I'll actually start doing the colors. And then I'll do something different with the background. It'll be kind of fun to look at. Since he's going to be like a paradroid. Maybe he's flying away from an explosion or something. All right, so there's that. Film. This part actually where his sort of eyes kind of are. I'm thinking this spot here is where his eyes are. This kind of was the name of that character from Wall-E. This kind of reminds me of that kind of robot too. I was thinking more of Herbie, but I could see it being either one. They used to have those characters on everything when I was a kid. They even had a little roving robot in the second season, I think, of Wonder Woman. The second season of Wonder Woman had a lot of science fiction elements to it.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's right.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go ahead and put the kind of an explosion in behind them. It's kind of an effect I like to do on a lot of stuff. So some people who draw on Facebook have seen this before. I'm going to use it's actually a brush pen, and it's kind of, the tip is kind of burnt out, and it can sometimes yield some interesting results. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of ink in, but I'm going to grab a piece of paper to put behind it because I don't want to get this all over my board. So if anyone has any other questions about anything, I'm happy to answer them. Maybe about comic book art or maybe a particular project or something I've worked on. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to.
Well, let's see. Let's see. It looks like there's there. What about Robbie the robot? You got a problem with my profile pic? Oh, they're talking to each other. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. Yeah, the chat's interacting within the chat as they're watching you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Action Art Comics says, "Wow, this is amazing." Tell us about your childhood. What just made you decide to go to the art world, especially inking?
Well, originally I was going to, I wanted to be a helicopter pilot, and my eyesight was not too good. So unfortunately, that wasn't going to happen for me. And so the other thing I love to do is I love to draw. I actually started drawing because my mom wanted to be a Disney animator. She used to draw a lot when I was younger. And specifically, there was one night she was actually painting Spock while we were watching Star Trek. Star Trek was on the television. She was actually painting Spock in color, which was pretty trippy. And so I was just kind of mesmerized by that. And I told her, I said, well, I want to do that. And so she sat me down in front of the television with some crayons and some notebook paper. And the next show that came on was a show a lot of people wouldn't remember, probably haven't even heard of, called Rat Patrol.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Bob Ross.
No, Rat Patrol. And so the first thing I ever drew were these little black and white, with just black crayon as little stick figures in the back of these crude, drawn little looking Jeeps. And it was love with art, and so I drew from that moment on. But I didn't really think about it as a career per se until I realized I wasn't going to be able probably to fly and be a pilot. And then I was sort of, it turns into, well, what can you do, as a profession, or what are you going to do? And so I thought, well, I'll try and draw comics. Of course, getting into the industry and drawing comics is its own challenge. It's not easy. And it took me a long time before I actually got to the point where I actually had a credit on a book. It was a lot of effort. But I've just always loved drawing, and I've always loved comics, and so it was fun. And I enjoy, I do enjoy storytelling, and I enjoy entertaining people, and I just love the medium.
Sorry, Dave. I lost power here briefly. What is this you're drawing now? This looks amazing.
George threw it up to the chat if there might be something they might be interested in seeing me do, maybe like an aquatic creature or something like that. And then someone in the chat actually said, well, how about a robot or a droid? So I'm designing a robot like I thought you would maybe see like on the Orville. But I was thinking that they would pull inspiration from some of the things I pull inspiration from, because, that's just how my brain works. So I, for some reason in my mind, I thought that they would go to like those robots like from Jason of Star Command or Space Academy, because with the comedic take on the show, I think they might pull some inspiration for that. And it would be sort of a weird little side character that's kind of always floating around, maybe getting into trouble. That's kind of what I was thinking. So I'm just designing it, but I thought he would float around outside the ship like a repair droid, like he would fix things.
Very cool.
Maybe he wouldn't actually be very good at his job, and he's always giving people a lot of lip.
Guys, if you're just joining us, hello Stig, hello Captain Robert April, hello Steph, hello Keithia. I'm putting up the Retro Rogues the YouTube channel up here again. I'm also putting in Dave's website and Red Skirt Online. I'm going to put all this in.
Yeah, I think if people enjoy the Orville, I really think they would like Red Skirts. Definitely give Red Skirts a try. And I really think people would enjoy it. I'm obviously biased, so you'll have to take that with a grain of salt. But I think he's looking kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to do an explosion in the background because I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do with the eyes. I'm almost debating on having these little bits here glow and maybe the eyes glow. Maybe some sparks or something coming off of this little tool here. But let's do the explosion in the background first. So I'm going to take, this is a really, I've had this marker since college. This thing is about done. So really? I'm going to take this, and this is the one I use. You can see like the end that's got like this black on it, because this is the one I always use. So I'm going to start back here, and I'm going to pull it through the ink, and the ink is probably not completely dry, and it's going to smear, but we're going to let it smear because we want that effect, because it creates more of a motion. See how it's kind of smearing? And
yeah, Captain Robert's loving this.
A little bit more.
How are you doing, Captain Robert? And guys, don't forget to subscribe to George Peter Gatsis. I'm putting his George's channel in the chat. And George is doing a lot of live streaming lately. So you want to catch his show, Humor and Sci-Fi. And maybe George, you want to tell us briefly about the his show is about?
Yeah, his show is just talking about anything that has to do with comedy at all, and I use sci-fi as a primer, a starting point, and we take it from there and let the conversation roll. But we all love sci-fi. We all love Star Wars. That's a given. It's part of our culture. We all love Star Trek. We all love Doctor Who. Again, it's all part of our culture. It's ingrained in us, and that's why we all hate what they've done to Star Trek, Doctor Who, and the Star Wars in the last 4 years. And they are literally going after everything that made us happy. Made a lot of people their careers, actually. If you really think about it, more than 50% of the astronauts that are in orbit because they got inspired by Star Trek. They got inspired by Mr. Spock, or Uhura, Sulu, Scotty, Captain Kirk.
They named the first space shuttle after the NCC 1701 Enterprise.
Yeah, they rolled it out of a hangar deck, and most of the cast was right there to watch it roll out. Yeah, so everything that is wonderful about sci-fi is part of our culture, and that's what his show is all about. Just talking about the happy stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look at your video later, Captain Robert. I know you guys have been going through a difficult situation without housing, so I hope there's some solution in the near future for that. Please, Stephanie is going to be posting Captain Robert's PayPal, I think, or other link. So please, guys, please go ahead and help out Captain Robert if you can. This reminds me a little bit of those droids in what's it called, in Black Hole.
Yeah, I love the Vincent Bob.
Yeah.
Old Bob. Yeah, I love those characters. So I had an idea here. I don't know if this is gonna work. We'll see.
It's looking amazing.
And then after I finish this one, I might need to run.
Yeah, whenever you have to go, Dave. Yeah, I mean, we've taken a lot of your time. I appreciate it.
So I'll make his eyes glow. I think I'm gonna make them glow. I thought it was going to. That's life. All right, so.
And guys, please also subscribe to Captain Robert's channel. Click on these 3 dots and subscribe to his YouTube channel, as well as Axonar Comics and Adega Outlaw. They all have and Kafia. They all have content on their channels. I'm really digging the effect, all of the effects surrounding the robot. What is that? I don't know how to verbalize it. What does that imply, or what can that imply? Is it just to feature what's in the center, or is it implying motion, or is it?
Well, I was thinking he's kind of. I do this effect a lot on sketch cards anyway because I kind of like it. But I was thinking he usually fixes things outside of the ship. So my mind is he's flying away from something that's exploding behind him because he was supposed to fix it and he didn't fix it and it's totally blowing up and he's trying to get the heck out of there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Listen, that's exactly what George was talking about before. Like you're like creating, you're seeing a scenario in your head when you're drawing. Yeah, Trey, this is pretty cool, huh? Trey, subscribe, guys, to Axonar Comics too. Trey's got some. Have you seen their stuff, their Axonar Comics stuff, Dave?
I'm familiar with Axonar, and I have seen some of it. I'm not too terribly versed on it, but I have actually seen a good bit of stuff they've been doing. I actually at one point was going to contact them, but as usual, I'm doing too much as it currently
Sure.
sits. But I quite like what they're doing. But yeah, I have seen some of the Axonar comic stuff, and I think most Trek fans are very well familiar with Axonar and what they're doing. It's pretty amazing. So
How did you and Eric meet, Dave?
well, we met through the convention circuit. I've been kind of obviously on the con circuit for quite some time. Eric used to do a lot of stuff actually with the film, the different. I'm trying to grab a tool out of here. All the different film production stuff.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoy obviously film. I think most artists quite enjoy film. So I was always kind of lurking about and seeing what was going on. I would try and interject myself into something sometimes when I shouldn't, just because I would love to work in film. And we cut way.
How so? How so, Dave? How, in what role? What capacity?
Well, Eric used to organize a lot of the film stuff, and then he did security at one point too. And then I'm trying to think of the best to explain this. It just kind of happened organically. And it just got to that point where every time I saw him, I just said, hey, what's going on? What you doing? You know, and there was I remember there was one year we had some Trek alum, and he actually took me over and actually introduced me to some of them. They were more on the production side, and I just kind of enjoyed that. But we've just been friends for a really long time. And so I had a show I was doing before, and a podcast, just an audio podcast, and my show host quit on me kind of suddenly, and I was going to just give it up. And then I was talking to Eric about something else, because we've actually worked together on Eric, actually the executive producer on Occupants, which is a sci-fi thriller. You can actually watch it actually for free on Tubi. And so he was working on that. And he contacted me about actually working on a tie-in comic book for that project. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. And so I ended up doing that. And he was the editor on that and the publisher. And we've just been friends for a really long time. And then I heard about my show host had quit, and we were talking about something else, and he's like, I might be interested in doing that. I'm going to go to Star Trek Vegas when I get back. And I was like, oh, that's fun. So we did one episode just to see if we clicked. Oh, and so I suggested to him, I said, what do you think about, doing a regular basis? And it sounded fun to him. And he's like, yeah, we could do that. So now it's grown into a live video show, and we're getting ready to launch a digital magazine, a fan-based digital magazine. We've got a lot of different things cooking.
It's a great show. I love the show. I think I wish everybody knew about it. We got to get the word out on it. It's awesome.
All right, so I'm going to take the camera, get a little, so you can kind of see him. He's just like a little robot guy, but yeah, he's messed something up. It's blowing up behind him, and he's zooming away. So anyhow.
Now, was this also inspired? I lost power in my house. Was this also inspired while I was off on the spot?
Yes, actually, George threw it up to the chat to see if anyone might have any ideas for something else they might want to see, and someone said a droid or a robot, and I thought, well, let's do kind of an Orville style kind of droid. At least my take on an Orville style droid. That's kind of how we wound up with this little guy. And then we've got our alien guy over here. We'll put them side by side. Of course, I'm I've got the camera off the mount like I'm not supposed to. Anyhow, yeah, so we got those little two guys there. We got a little alien guy, wearable alien crew member, and a little robot guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Oh, Dave, I have a good idea. When's your next show?
Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, which is I always refer to as Arizona time because I'm in Arizona.
7 p.m. Mountain Time. So. I mean, if you're gonna do any kind of giveaway, I would. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do, but if you are, I would suggest that you do it on your show and have everybody join Dave's show on Wednesday. And I'm gonna
we can give these away live on the show. I just like to encourage people to comment. And actually, I have two other ones I did too. I have a Flash Gordon. I'm going to disable the camera for a second because I'm going to get out. So I'm going to go grab these other ones. I did a Flash Gordon and actually a Robin I was actually going to already do. All right, so let me turn the camera back on. Hope they don't get too much glare. This is the Robin I did the other night because Robin's actually celebrating his 80th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
It's
really 80th?
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, and then I did a sort of my style Flash Gordon that we were going to do too. So yeah, maybe we'll just do these Orville ones. But no, yeah, definitely. You got the Retro Rogue comment. You could even put hashtag Orville Nation in your chat, and that way I'll know that you watch this on Orville Nation, and we'll do this separate from the others, so nobody else will actually know this contest is going on. Just put hashtag Orville Nation, and I'll enter you into the drawing. So what I do is I write down on a piece of paper, I tear it off. I've got like this little Hulk Halloween candy dispenser, and I throw them in there and I shake it up, and then I just pull them out while we're doing the show live. So, but yeah, just hashtag Orville Nation during the chat. That way I know that you watch this stream, and yeah, we'll give these away on the show Wednesday night. That'll be cool.
Wow. Yeah, guys. So make sure you. I'm also putting in Dave's Twitter because I think the best thing to do is whenever they post about their show, Dave's Twitter is in here. So make sure you connect with him on Twitter as well. And hello, Troy. How are you, Troy? Our artist friend Dave Beatty just came up with these 2 Orville inspired drawings on the spot. It was really cool. You might want to go back and rewatch because he started with a blank piece of paper. Wow. So Dave, I don't want to hold you up if you need to run.
Yeah, I'm gonna run, but thank you, PJ. This was a lot of fun. George, it was great getting to finally talk to you. Really enjoyed being on the show. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Orville Nation. I periodically will show up in the chat, and I'll be lurking about talking. So, yeah. Thank you very much for letting me be on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys, and don't forget, guys, Wednesday 7 Mountain Time, and I'm putting Dave's channel up here again. So thank you, Dave. We got to have you back as soon as you get a chance.
No, yeah, it'd be fun to do this again. Actually, I quite enjoyed this. So I think it's kind of a little bit different from probably what people are used to here on the show, and kind of fun. So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you again very much, Peter. Again, it was good talking to you, George. Thank you to everyone.
Likewise.
Thank you again to everyone who commented, the ones who made suggestions. It was great actually kind of indirectly getting to talk to what you guys are doing. Keep it up. All right, I'm going to run, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Have a good night.
You too. All right.
Take care. Wow, what a treat. Thanks, Dave. George, I have a feeling you're busy, so I don't want to keep you.
Well, I'll take off too. Thank you very much for having me on the stream and being able to chat with Dave directly. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks. Actually, I am going to call this a stream. So thanks. I want to say thanks to Peggy, to Herb, to Axonar, to Trey, to Steph, to Troy, to Captain Robert, to Herb, to Big Daddy O, to everybody who's been in here. Kathia, thank you guys. You guys all have a great night. And George, thank you so much. Thank you so much, George, for being with us tonight.
Oh, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.